The ongoing tension in the hip-hop world was never truly about Drake versus Kendrick Lamar. Instead, it has always been a more intricate rivalry between Drake and Future. Future has been quietly orchestrating the events leading to Drake's downfall, revealing himself as the true mastermind behind the scenes. This rivalry is about much more than just music. It's about power, betrayal, and the art of turning negativity into an advantage. Drake has always been known for his ability to get under his rival's skin, often targeting their most personal relationships. Kendrick Lamar famously warned the world that Drake's strategy involves going after his opponent's women, using this as a potent offensive move. However, many didn't realize that Future had already experienced this firsthand. Drake didn't just stop at Kendrick, he employed the same tactic with Future, allegedly trying to steal his woman, which sowed the seeds of their rivalry. The tension between these two was further highlighted when Drake tried to make amends with The Weeknd, another artist who had fallen victim to Drake's cunning strategies. Drake's actions seemed to have created a ripple effect, alienating those who were once close to him. Now, with Drake's career facing significant challenges, Future has emerged from the shadows, subtly confirming what many in the industry had long suspected. This rivalry isn't just a typical rap beef, it's a complex web of betrayals and power plays. As Drake's downfall seems imminent, Future's role in this drama becomes more apparent, revealing a narrative of revenge, strategy, and the consequences of playing dirty in the cutthroat world of hip-hop.
It's like, obviously, like you said, people have to grow and we gotta work through things, and I have my fair share to apologize for.
The relationship between Drake and Future is a complex and covert power struggle, filled with layers of subtle tension and unspoken rivalries that many have overlooked. From the outset, Drake and Future seemed to understand each other's ambitions and the games they played. Drake, known for his strategic maneuvering within the music industry, has not shied away from dirtying his own artists, a fact that has become all too familiar to those once under his wing. Artists like The Weeknd, Party Next Door, and virtually everyone signed to the OVO label have found themselves at the receiving end of Drake's cutthroat tactics, but none more so than Future. What many people didn't know about Future, known as Pluto. For his cool, detached persona, is that beneath that icy exterior lies a man who knows how to hold a grudge. The turning point in their relationship occurred early on when Drake declined to appear in the music video for Future's Tony Montana remix, a track on which Drake had been featured. For Future, this was not just a minor oversight, it was a blatant act of disrespect. Future, who usually keeps his emotions under wraps, was deeply offended by this snub and uncharacteristically spoke out about the situation. This was a rare moment of vulnerability from an artist who typically remains silent about his grievances. The incident marked the beginning of a simmering rivalry, one that has only grown more intense over the years. While the world saw them as collaborators and peers, a hidden animosity brewed beneath the surface. Far from the passive figure many assumed him to be, Future was quietly taking note of every slight, every betrayal. His decision to vocalize his displeasure was a significant departure from his usual demeanor, signaling that Drake's actions had crossed a line. This moment planted the seeds for a long-standing rivalry, one marked by subtle yet powerful moves that continue to shape the dynamics of the hip-hop industry.
Get on the video, it wasn't like, I wasn't real mad about it, but I just felt like when I first talked to him about it, I told him, when you do this, make sure you know what you're doing. This is my baby, this is the first song that I'm doing, this is Tony Montana, this is my single. This the one that I feel like mean the most to me, because this is my breakout single. Even though Rackets, I did it, and it was just, that broke my career. This shit on my career before. So many people from Atlanta wanted to get on this.
You had to realize that Drake had the potential to be a huge friend in the future, much as Jay was to Jay, Dre was to M, and Puff was to Biggie. Okay, so maybe that last example is a little off, but you get the idea. Drake only bothered you when he thought you were valuable. You all remember how Drake would mention the name of The Weeknd as if he were on life support and the Toronto star lad was his oxygen. Do you know what it means to co-sign an artist before they release their first mixtape? Drake was and has always been a user. Drake was right to see dollar signs in gold, since The Weeknd continues to insist that the Take Care album, which won Drake the Grammy for Rap Album of the Year, was his idea. Drake has acknowledged, denied, and then admitted again, the usual Drake behavior that he stole the hook from Future too, started from the bottom, didn't give Future credit, and sent Future an expensive bottle of liquor as a peace offering.
Verse that you wish that you would have been on, or one hook or one feature that you wish you would have been on, was Started From the Bottom.
Yep.
Started From the Bottom would have been a track that you would have liked to have been on.
Yeah, because when I was in the studio when we was making the record, when he made the record, he was in the studio session with me. That's when I had the chosen one. And I'm like, started, when you make it from the bottom, you the chosen one. So, but we was at the studio, Drake came by the studio, and I always tell my engineer, started from the bottom. So when I put the beats on, I was like, man, put the beats in. So I always say, started from the bottom. So when I say started from the bottom, he thought I was talking about a song. So when I played Chosen One, he loved the Chosen One, but he was waiting for me in Chosen One to say started from the bottom. So he said instantly, he telling me this story. He bought me a bottle of Louis XIII that I never opened up.
Wow.
Because of this story, and I'm like, man, I want bottle, I need publishing. You know what I'm saying? But
Future never forgot that Drake only hangs around if you're popping. The man is a succubus, so even if it's a sexy red family, he will suck on anything that stands in the spotlight. Fast forward to 2022, this was the lead single from Future's 2022 album I Never Like You, which also featured their collaboration. I'm the one that Future didn't push for a music video, and Drake didn't say squat. It turned out that Future had learned to read the stars before waiting for you to become a monster hit. It was a similar energy, because neither Drake nor Future pushed for a music video when it dropped. It was a cold war, but it was about to get really messy. Late in 2022, Metro Boomin, Drake, and 21 Savage collaborated to create More M in a single verse. Drake WS, I could spend 5 hours at the stadium wondering what happened to the guy who said OVO was transferred to us. And on the same song, Drake closed up one of the most cryptic subs he's released in a while. Ninjas pretend to be in love with the lad by cracking jokes and acting like they're having fun with some bees on a snake, but if I give them a poem, they'll accept it and wrap a video arm around me like we aces. Now, Weil know how Future is that man has an NFL roster of baddies on speed dial, and I'm talking both teams, so everyone just assumed the bar crack a couple jokes to some bees on some snakish was Drake exposing Future for violating the bro code. We thought Future had taken Drake's girl, but turned out it was the opposite. Turns out Drake had messed around. The ongoing drama between Drake and Future has taken a complex and explosive turn, one rooted in personal vendettas, public slights, and the strategic destruction of reputations. It all began with a woman named Tokyo, one of Future's close associates who became an assistant. When Drake mentioned Tokyo in his track, Push-Ups with the line, "I'm out in Tokyo cause I'm big in Japan," it wasn't just a casual boast, it was the ultimate act of disrespect. This was classic Drake, using his music to take subtle jabs at his rivals, a method he's used before to shake up the industry. This wasn't the first time Drake employed such tactics. His notorious fling with Bella Hadid during her brief breakup with The Weeknd was another example of Drake's willingness to meddle in the personal lives of his peers. While The Weeknd responded by surpassing Drake to become a global superstar, Future decided to take a different approach. He aimed to turn the entire industry against Drake and his OVO label, orchestrating a chain of events that would eventually lead to Drake's downfall. The seeds of this plot were planted in December 2023 when Metro Boomin, a close collaborator of Future, threw shade at Drake's album Her Lost Metro, and Future's tight bond meant that this wasn't just an isolated incident, it was a calculated move. As tension simmered, Drake stoked the fire by releasing For All the Dogs, a project filled with not-so-subtle references to Future. In the track, Drake repeatedly asked, "What would Pluto do?" a direct jab at Future, whose nickname is Pluto. The most biting line, "What would Pluto do? He definitely effing on," was a blatant reminder to Future that Drake had been intimate with his assistant, Tokyo. However, Future wasn't about to take this lying down. His response was swift and brutal, releasing tracks filled with sharp, pointed disses aimed squarely at Drake. In one verse, Future made it clear he distrusts Drake, rapping, "We don't trust you," and he didn't hold back. He mocked Drake's habit of spending lavishly on women, particularly referencing Chanel bags he gifted to strippers in Miami. Future's barbs weren't just about money, they were about the betrayal and deception he felt, with lines like, "You a Ninja #1 fan, dog, sneak dissing, I don't understand, dog, and pillow talking, acting like a fed, dog." These lyrics directly addressed the rumors that Drake had been pillow talking with Tokyo after their affair, further fueling the animosity between the two. To make matters worse for Drake, Tokyo was later seen wearing Future's "We Don't Trust You" merchandise, a clear message that the loyalty Drake once enjoyed was crumbling. The situation became even more intense when Kendrick Lamar entered the fray. Kendrick has had a long-standing disdain for Drake, dating back to when Drake humiliated him in The Language. With the feud between Drake and Future escalating, Kendrick seized the opportunity to add fuel to the fire. It was as if Kendrick had taken the baton from Future, amplifying the conflict and contributing to what many see as the deconstruction of Drake's carefully constructed empire. Now, the question remains, did Future truly orchestrate the beginning of Drake's downfall, or is this just another chapter in the endless saga of hip-hop rivalries? As the dust settles, one thing is clear: Drake's dominance is no longer unchallenged. The combined efforts of Future, Kendrick, and others have chipped away at his once untouchable status, leaving fans and critics alike to wonder if this marks the beginning of the end for one of hip-hop's biggest stars. The intrigue, the betrayal, and the power plays have turned this into more than just a beef, it's a battle for the very soul of the rap game.